All right, I'm going. Boy's a bossy cuss in there, isn't he? Hey, hello, hello, hello. It is I, your captain of communication, your coach of collaboration and of common ground, John Theillon. Hello, it is me. Hello, 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 hello. The 3 o'clock hour we're starting, but it's wherever time it is where you are. So I appreciate you checking us in, turning us on. It's common ground, don't you know? With me, with John Theillon. Yeah, I'm. Don't forget, I'm also the mayor of Reeltown, and what that means, again, in case you've missed it, the previous 18 times. Literally, is that I just always want to keep things as right down the line as possible. I don't want to sugarcoat, at least not knowingly. And if I do, please understand that it is not intentional. I just want to be as real can be. You know, so many people think the things that are unsaid by far and large. I like to say what's usually unsaid. And you know what? It's going to ruffle some feathers. It's gonna. You know, the late Howard Cosell used to call it about his words similarly, telling it like it is. Hello, Howard Cosell. I tell it like it is. Well, a lot of people dug him. A lot of people couldn't stand him. So, okay, you know. And here, same thing here. With some people, my keeping it as real can be, it doesn't go down real well. It's not a pill that people swallow easily. And okay, you know, there are people like that, and I get it. You know, they can't, they don't, they won't, or they have no inclination to live in real town or to be at all about the real town way, as I call it. Other people, hopefully like you, well, other people crave it. And it's a craveable thing. So if you're not craving it, smarten up and crave it. Okay, here we go. Now, we're coming to you. We're back to the studio here today, back at the studio, I should say. You know, yeah, I'm a Jersey guy. Yeah, we're back to studio. No, we're back at the studio here in beautiful Greater Metropolitan downtown Hamilton, New Jersey, if you will, in the White Horse Corporate Park. Yeah, just off of Route 206, just below the traffic circle there by the Wawa, by the Taco Bell, by the Circle Deli. Big shout to the folks at the Circle Deli. Nice people. In Hamilton, New Jersey. Hamilton Radio, of course. Don't forget, we are an iHeart radio station. We're going to be coming up on our first anniversary on that before you know it. And with the flagship station. Boy, I always have a stumble on that. We're an iHeart radio station, is Hamilton Radio, and with a flagship station of Common Ground with John Theillon. That's right. And of the Exceptional Radio Broadcast Network, the ERBN. So it's, as always, folks, it's about the best in music, outstanding independent groups. I tell you what, if you like indie artists, indie groups, indie people musically, not from Indianapolis and not who drive in the Indy 500, that's different, but independent artists in music, Tuesday is your day on Hamilton Radio. I'm telling you what, hamiltonradio.net. Just hit the streaming button. Red if you're in the U.S., blue if you're not. It's all great stuff. Now more like today and the rest of the week, there's all kinds of shows. There's all kinds of music wonderfulness. There's still indie artists being played, but it's more of the soundtrack of our lives. You know, the stuff that we know, the stuff that we love, the stuff that wow, I haven't heard that in a long time. Yeah. That kind of thing. You know, it's where all the cool kids go, and it's also where the kids who want their music fix go to. And I say kids lovingly. Kids could be, 18, 25, could be 65 or, 82. Doesn't matter, because we've got it all from the early days of rock and roll to not too long ago. So there's that. Now, I have to tell you, too, shameless self-promotion for us over here at Hamilton Radio. Excellent resources, Hamilton Radio, for audio and voice work projects. Yeah, audio books, for example, have become an important thing, a big thing, a king-size thing for a lot of folks who have written books. Not just the big names. I'm talking people who were just folks like you and me who, you know what, have written a book. And you would be surprised how many people, well, later on today, my broadcast partner, Jerry Petito, she's got a book. Laurie Ayres, who we interviewed a few weeks ago as our Phyllis Diller tribute artist, comedian, she's written a book. The gal we had on a few weeks ago, a week or two after that, talking about the best way to train your dog. Um, she wrote a book. You know, a lot of folks have written books, I have to say. So the question is, what kind of book do you have, or do you know maybe somebody who has done a book? Maybe you know somebody, maybe somebody knows somebody. You get the idea. If you like it as a regular book, let me tell you what, you're probably going to really enjoy it as an audio book. We can help get it done here at Hamilton Radio. We really can. In a timely way, quickly, and affordably, and in a quality manner as well. I have to say, we're also here at Hamilton Radio, a real right and tight resource for additional audio and voiceover initiatives. Things like short and longer form video, the audio component of that. Could be corporate stuff, educational and instructional. Again, corporate, business related, industrial, could be safety, could be HR stuff. And of course, 15, 30, 60-second commercials for radio, for TV, for video, for wherever you run an ad, a commercial, if you will. We can handle the audio. So just give us a blast. Email us, the best way. Email us for top quality voice work, for whatever's going on. admin@hamiltonradio.net. admin@hamiltonradio, one word, .net. What audio projects do you have coming up? Or do you know maybe a friend, a colleague in a group, in an organization, in a business, even what have you? Let's hear about them. And we can work on it together. Again, email us with some information, your questions, and so forth. admin@hamiltonradio.com. Admin, short for administration, but admin@hamiltonradio.net. .net, sorry, .com, .net. admin@hamiltonradio.net. Now, to listen, one last thing, because you're going to want to listen. Promise me that you'll listen, okay? Because I'm promising you it's a good listen. Just tune it in. Just get on the computer, get on your device, get on whatever it is you have, okay? Your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your desktop. All day, every day, just go to hamiltonradio.net, hamiltonradio.net, and there are the streaming buttons in the upper left corner of the web page, the home page. Again, hit the red one if you're here in the States, hit the blue one if you're not, okay? We've got international streaming, and we have USA domestic streaming here, because that's where we're from, of course. It is truly some of the best music and entertainment around. hamiltonradio.net, hamiltonradio.net. Now, today, and as I've said previously, I'm just going to reiterate too, I put together these programs, these monologues, the op-eds, I guess you could call them, my topics, whatever you want to call them, based largely on things that I've seen, places I've been, things that I've experienced, or what have you, stuff I've done. I also get inspiration or a kickstart from other folks, other things out there. These people could be in business, they could be in entertainment, they could be in politics, religion. Ooh, the two that you don't want to talk about. BS. We're talking about them, okay? Any type of people, any sort of folks, or any kinds of experiences or things that I have encountered or that I gravitate to. I want to talk today about not letting others get to you. Okay, and their attempt to knowingly or not grind you down. And sometimes it's knowingly and other times it's not. People, they like to diminish others, to inappropriately or wrongly be dismissive of what you are or who you are or what you aspire to. Pardon me. With that in mind, and in whatever manner, I'm going to just assume here that you're going to get it about my topics today and every day. Because what I'm doing, here's the thing. What I'm doing is I'm providing information. That's what I do. I provide information. You do with it what's best for you. Do with it what you're going to do. Do with what you will. Again, it's my take. It's my stance. It's my philosophy. It's my words, okay? And I don't mean to come off as my, but in this essence, it's appropriate to say so. I'm not an I, me, my kind of guy. I'm a team guy. But what I'm providing is information based upon my words, my thoughts, my stances, my takes, my everything. Okay? So again, use this information however you will. Take what you can use, leave the rest. Simple as that. Okay? Whatever it may be. I'm also about recognizing, if not putting into action, our collective and collaborative abilities. There's that teamwork aspect again. Those kind of things that we have inherently, intrinsically, just as people, things that really can be part and parcel about communicating, about coaching or teaching or suggesting or recommending how to get to that common ground, so to say, that we are all always after, to whatever degree, in whatever way, shape, manner, or form. That's my observation, folks. Everybody's got a common ground that they want to shoot for, that they want to strive for, that they're aspiring to. Hence the name. Okay. And that was a collaborative effort too, I have to say, and I cannot be thankful enough for that. So today, the topic is, stick with me for one moment, illegitimi non carborundum. You're saying what? Did you take Latin in school? I did for about 3 days my senior year, and I'm like, nope. But you pick things up as you get older, okay? Illegitimi non carborundum. That is Latin for don't let others, especially the jerks, especially the low information, low IQ cement heads, don't let the jerks grind you down and keep you down. Don't do it. It's not how to win. It's not how to do. Again, that Rocky from Rocky Balboa, that whole monologue where he is talking to his son out on the sidewalk. You know, that's not how winning is done, and it's not. It's not. Life's going to knock you down. It's not about getting knocked down. It's about getting knocked down and learning how to get up and keep moving forward. That's how it's done. And there's several incarnations of how stuff like this can happen that you have to watch for and not let stick to you. Just let it glance off of you like you're made of Teflon. Pretend you're my hair, John Gotti hair, just right off, okay? It could happen at home with family. And it oftentimes does. You don't know it, or you don't always recognize it fully because, well, you know, they're your parents, they're your siblings, they're your grandparents, they're your aunts and uncles, they're your cousins, you know, they're your family. So you don't often see this need for illegitimi non carborundum. Don't let the jerks keep grinding you down. My mother, lovely gal, I miss her so. She's been gone, oh boy, it'll be 9 years here on June 30th. 9 years, that went fast. Oof. But you know, lovely gal. Okay, one of the best people I've ever known, not because she was my mother, but just because she was a good person. I like boating. Okay, mother and dad were cut from the bolt of cloth, especially dad, that a boat is a hole in the water in which one pours money into. He would go if friends or other family had a boat or access to one to go fishing. Oh, he'd go, because he liked to go fishing, but he would not have a boat. I have had a boat. I miss the boat. It's been too many years without the boat. I will at some point have a boat, okay? And I'm not talking a big giant one. I mean, even if it's like a 16, 17, 18-footer, you know, little cuddy cabin, open bow, center console, something to go bowing on the lake or down on the bay, whatever. About 10, 12 years ago, I went to the boat show up in Edison at the convention center. And I came home and mother was like, well, how was the boat show? I said, it was really nice. I got a bunch of brochures of boats I really, really like. Oh, really? Yeah. I said, of course. I was there looking, you know, I went there relative to getting leads for business, potential clients for my advertising. But while I was there, I'm like, okay, I like boats, so I'm going to get information. And she said, well, what would you do that for rather than for work, like you said? I said, because I want to get back out on the water again. And she gave me this real condescending, oh, well, I'm sure you do. I wish you good luck with that. Really? Really? Illegitimi non-carborundum. You know. I even have had some ideas, and I still have some ideas on some other entertainment-related business to go into, to start. And even lately, my son and I have talked about, very loosely, but he brought it up, and all of a sudden it's like the student is appearing, or the teacher is appearing, because the student now is ready, my son who's nearly 26 years old. Hey, Dad, what do you think about something like, a go-kart, like a concession go-kart business or something that, like that? And hey, not for anything, but you could even have your little train as part of that, because I would love to have a ride-on train, and I've also had designs on doing one commercially, a business, so to say. Well, it wasn't that long ago, I had some close family members just sort of give me why would you want to do that? I mean, people who I've known for damn near 30 years, who have gotten very, very close to me. Why would you do that? No, that's not a good thing. I don't see it. That was something back, I don't know, when we were very small and before even we were born in the 60s and 50s and after World War II, go ride the train. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. You don't necessarily just set up a place. You hook in with events. You have it as a portable train ride concession. I wouldn't do that. That's not a good idea, basically. Illegitimize, non-carborundum. Your family just basically putting a wet blanket on it. They're just looking out for you is what they'll tell you. Don't get involved in something that's not going to be robust. Trust me, if you do it right, it'll be just fine. So you have to watch about those trying to grind you down, knowingly or not, who are family. At work, happens all the time at work. Trust me, and I know you know some instances, some people, some scenarios and situations whereby things have happened. People who have an agenda, an ulterior motive, usually middle to semi-upper to upper management. Okay, people who have an agenda or who don't know how to do, so to speak, yet they're in charge. You know those people. This guy I worked with over here a few years ago, we'll call him Greg, okay? And he was one of us. When I first started at the job, he was one of us. He was on the floor, he was in telesales, and he did an okay job. He got promoted to a manager, basically. And it was just nothing but him swinging his you-know-what to make people know in no uncertain terms that he's now the man. He's now the man. Really? Dude, a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, a year or two ago, you were just one of us, and now you're one of the big old swinging Richards? Really? You're going to do that? And I wouldn't let him. He would want to call me out sometimes for whatever ridiculousness, and I wouldn't let him. And he hated it because I didn't do it when I was wrong. I did it when I was right. When I was maybe, I don't know, having a struggle, I kept my mouth shut. Yeah, Greg, I got it. Thank you. I appreciate it. No, I hear you. Thank you. That kind of thing. Because if I needed the help, I needed the help. Okay, and he was, again, good at what he did, and he could be helpful until he wasn't, again and again and again. Get the idea? Until one time, he thought I was not participating the way I should be in a certain activity, which was completely false. He came over and started grinding me down. And he said his piece, and as he was done saying his, I began to say mine. And as I'm beginning to say mine, he gets up, turns his back on me, starts walking away. And I literally say, Greg. And he kept going. I'm like, man, this guy's a bleeping a-hole. Not loud, but loud enough to where evidently he could hear it. Oh, well. He went marching into HR. I guess he told the whole story, that he thought I was doing X when I was not. He thought I was not participating or being dismissive when that was not the case. And I tried to say something as he was walking away, and he kept walking. I didn't get my 2 cents in, and I said what I said. Fortunately and rightfully, the HR chick said, you know what? I'd have done the same thing. He was exactly right. You need to make this right. So, the next day he says, hey, you got a minute? So what do you need, Greg? Come on in. And we went into the conference room. I was like, hey, man, what was with all that, yesterday? why'd you call me an a-hole? I said, well, if you weren't being one, you wouldn't need to be called one. And he didn't know what to do with himself at that point because nobody talked to him real like I did. And I just said, Greg, this is not about anything but respect. You're not showing me any, so you know what? You get what you give. Start doing the right thing. I think we've talked about that before. Start doing the right thing, Greg, and we'll be fine again. Oh, because he gave me, well, I was one of you guys. I said, you're right, you were. You still could be, but with a little extra oomph behind you, helping, not hindering. Well, he didn't like any of that until he was let go. I'll be darned. We really didn't have a whole lot to say to one another. We were cordial, we were professional, but he knew that he could not grind me down. Illegitimi, non-carborundum, okay? And even the guys said, the proverbial quote, boys upstairs. None of them. And there were no less than 4 in my time at this particular job. None of them had ever done the actual job that we were doing. On the front lines, on the floor, so to speak, dealing with customers and clientele, whether it was on the phone, via messaging, or emails, because welcome to the 21st century, okay? But yet they had these edicts, these rules, these provisos, these mandatory, you'll do it or else. And, the president of the company came walking in one day, and I'm like, hey, so, Larry, or Barry? Well, there was Larry and Barry, actually. So what about this? And they didn't know what to say. The one guy just turned his head and walked away. I'm like, oh, again with the turning your head and walking away. Illegitimi, non-carborundum. So it'll happen at home, with your family, and it'll happen at work. Here's a fun one, dealing with the public. Now, you've got to do it. And I just had a wonderful experience not an hour and a half ago at the Wawa up the street. There were no less than 3 people, 3.5, because I kind of gave the gal behind the counter a wink and a smile as I left, and she smiled back, okay? But there were no less than 3 other people with whom I dealt with. 2 were other fellow customers, and one was the ice cream guy coming in, stocking up the ice cream freezer. And you know what? Nice people. These people were in decent moods. I talked to the ice cream guy. The other guy coming in, the other customer, he was, as I was walking in, he was kind of humming something. He held the door for me on the outside. I held the door for him on the inside. And we all had a little, chuckle and say, hey, have a good day, bud. Yeah, you too, pal. And then, the guy also doing the self-checkout next to me, he had a Baltimore Ravens hat, and I said, hey, so are they going to keep Lamar Jackson down there? He goes, man, I freaking hope so. Again, just people being people. If you engage them in a positive way, chances are that's what you're going to get back. It really is. But stuff that gets under my skin, or let me put it this way, I can't abide stupid. I have a difficult time abiding stupid. I just do, and I make no apologies. I'm at the grocery store some months ago, parking my truck, coming in to another SUV who's parked in toward me, and he's putting his stuff in his vehicle, and we're on the end, so there's a little land island at the end of the aisle, okay? Right over there, it's not far. Right over there is either the front of the building where you can put the shopping carts, or literally 3, maybe 4 parking spots that way is the cart corral. He puts his cart over on the little land island next to his vehicle. As he's doing that, so does a woman parked behind him, 2 cars up the other side, does the same thing on her side. I get out of the truck, and I literally, in my voice of God, public address voice, doesn't need a mic, said, folks, do you not see that there's a cart corral right there? What, if you got polio, you can't walk from there to there with the carts? And then I was the one had the third eye in his head. They both looked at me like, how dare you? And I said, don't make me come over there and get those damn carts and put them away. Well, the lady, she high-stepped it back to her car and zoom, off she went. The guy just gave me a bad look, and I felt like freaking Clint Eastwood, because I just looked at him. I just looked at him. And he's getting in his car, and he's staring me down, and he's gonna. And I said my piece. I didn't make a big face about it. I just said it to where both of these numbskulls could hear it, and I stared his ass down too. And he thought he was gonna, and I got out of the truck because I had to go in. Well, here, and this is when size matters sometimes. Yes, I know like that, but not like that. I'm talking about until I have my, footwear on, 6'3", 255. That's helpful because this guy, I don't know, he might have been 5'10" years older than me, and he might have went 5'10", about $171. So I got out of the car, and I keep getting out, and he's like, oh boy. His icy stare became, uh-oh. He got in his little vehicle and off he went. But what is that? What is that? What if I'm coming into park? All right. Now I've got to navigate around your shopping cart that you couldn't go 3 steps, 3 parking slots up and put away in the cart corral because knowingly or not, you're trying to grind my butt down. Illegitimate non-carborundum. You know what I mean? Huge oversensitivity has become a major thing. A major thing, I should say. But there are, plural things, because there are things within the thing where major sensitivity is concerned. Huge oversensitivity. You've got these keyboard cowboys, big man, he's going to tell me. I had some guy, I was on a Pontiac, Pontiac forum on Facebook probably, 6, 7 years ago. I had a nice Grand Prix. I liked the car. It was an 05 Pontiac Grand Prix, my little silver streak. It wasn't the GXP, the hot rod with the paddle shifters. It was not. I had a fraternity brother buddy of mine had one of them, and boy, that was smoking. But this was a nice car. Had a little pep in its step, it wasn't a raging hot rod, but I liked the car. Well, this guy's on there, and there's people on there talking about the old GTOs and the new GTOs at that point that they made a few years ago, and all the cars that had some oomph to them, and I said, I get Grand Prix, and I like my Grand Prix. It'll go 100. I had it going 100 miles an hour, up Route 33, going from the Lehigh Valley to I-80, and this guy gets on the air. Oh yeah, that's some car. It's front wheel drive, and it's look at a 3.8 liter engine, and those things. Yeah, okay, yeah, you got a real hot rod. I mean, you could tell he was just oozing sarcasm. And I got back on there and I said, dude, I like my car. I'm sure you like your car. I don't get on here and disrespect your vehicle. What's your damn problem? They don't expect anybody to fire back. These huge, overly sensitive, whiny bloopers. They don't expect anybody to fire back. And when you do, they oftentimes don't know how to act. It's just, don't bait me. Do not bait. Here again, these last 3 years, especially early on, with the masks, and remember in the grocery stores, all the aisles became one way, literally overnight. This just in, and no surprise, I paid no attention to those stickers with the arrows on them on the floor of the Acme grocery store. If it said this way, I'm coming that way, because that's the way I'm coming. I had some guy one time, he might have been about 68, 70 years old, all of about 5'7", wearing some, like tablecloth looking checker shirt with khaki shorts and Birkenstock sandals and a Jerry Garcia beard out to here, like a typical academician type. I don't know if he was, but he looked like he should have been a professor over on College Avenue in New Brunswick. Okay, one of those. And he says, this aisle is only one way. And again, he was just a little man. So I got right up on him, and I loomed over him. I said, "I'm only going one way." And he, huh? And the rest of the time I'm in that store that day, every time I go around a corner, he'd see, when he would see me, he would immediately turn tail and run away. They want to be, they want to be, but they're so sensitive. I'm just so sensitive, but I want to be the man, damn it. But I can't because I'm so sensitive. Good, then stop. Cut it out. You know you're wrong. Again, in the elevator at the hospital. Huh, no mask? Nope, no underwear either. Ah! And he couldn't get out of that elevator quick enough when it stopped. Good, leave, get out of my sight. Nobody needs this. It's just, don't bait me either. People, the public, they will bait you. They will bait you. I got a guy who used to play football for me on my semi-pro team. He's moved out of the area now. He might be moving back up north. He moved down south. And he loves to bait me. He loves the political side that he loves, and it's not the side that I love, and that's fine. You know what? That's, again, why Breyers makes vanilla and chocolate. He loves his blue, and I love my red. No apologies for him for loving blue. Do your thing, but no apologies out of me for loving red. I'm doing my thing, okay? It can work. Again, it's coexistence, it's collaborating, it's common ground. But he loves to bait me, loves to bait me. And for a while, I'd go at it with him. And now I'm like, you know what? This is stupid because whatever it happens to be that's brought up out of him, is stupid. I'm not doing it. They love to bait you in the public, especially whether it's on topics that are current events, that are political or religious related or something of that ilk. I'm not doing it. And they hate that more because they want to duke it out. They want to spar. Nope, not going to do it. Not going to do it. So you have, again, illegitimi non-carborundum at home, at work, dealing with the public, and now the spiritual. I touched on that a little bit just a moment ago. There's a way you can weave things into conversation, whether it's at your labor or during your time of leisure. It can be done. The country, the world, one of the foundational aspects of society is the spiritual, is whatever form of religiosity that there is and or has been through the millennia, okay? The problem that exists is you've got, and it's always the few who shout or try to shout the loudest, who everybody else oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes will just either acquiesce to or kowtow to. It's not right, you know. We'll get to that with political things as well, because that's the next version of illegitimi non-carborundum. Don't let the jerks grind you down and keep you down. But with the spiritual, there are enough of people out there who will wag their fingers in your face, you know, and tell you how very bad things are going to happen to you if you don't straighten up and fly right, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, if you don't atone, if you don't repent, if you blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something, and I believe this very ardently, very fervently. God, the boss, as I call him, he is not a monster. Okay, I'll use that word. There are so many who either are or have been part of the spiritual scene through, again, the millennia, who would classify God, the boss, as a monster. Oh, he's going to get mad. Oh, he's going to... You've heard this expression, the wrath of God. I don't know. I think there are maybe some who have incurred the wrath of God. We'll talk about one of them very briefly here in a few minutes. Guy used to be over in Europe about, I don't know, 80, 90 years ago, but more on him in a minute. You know, but I'm here to tell you that he's not like that. The whole spiritual thing, by far and large, whether you're a Christian, whether you're Jewish, whether you're Muslim, Islam, whether you're Buddhist, whether you're Taoist, whether you worship that stick in the deal over there that I'm looking at, in case you could, well, you can't see because it's behind the camera, but whatever your thing is, God is not an angry guy. Now, you push him, he's going to get a little ticked. But as a matter of course, he's not an angry, evil monster. He wants good things, I have to think, for us. Okay? But to have people out there saying, and you'd better this, and you ought to that, and you need to again, you need to. As soon as I hear those three words, I'm gone. I am checked out. Yeah, check please. Okay? Not going to work with me. And for anybody with half a brain. Okay? You don't need to be over the top about stuff. All things, I believe, as is also said in the Bible, all things in moderation. From soup to nuts, literally. Okay? There's a time and place. And there is, in Ecclesiastes, there's a verse about that, a time and place for everything. You know, the Byrds did a song like that back in the 60s. To everything, turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. A time for every purpose under heaven, okay? A time to live, a time to die, a time to laugh, a time to cry, and so forth and so forth. Time and place, people, time and place. I worked with a gal. She's a dear, dear friend, love her awful. Some years ago, I met her, and she went through a real turmoil in her life, and rather than going down a real dark and bad pathway, which she could have done, she instead found God. She found Jesus. You could find a whole lot of worse things out there, folks, believe me, and you know it, okay? So this is what helped her through the literal moment of hell on earth that she was going through with situations in her life at that time. This is probably almost 30 years ago now. And then a few years after that, we ended up working together again. I knew her before this a little bit when she was just a fun-loving, kind of out there, but in a good way. She marched to her own, still does, but marched to her own drum as a young gal, as a younger gal, and then as a young mom, young married and a young mom, and then a young single mom again. She had to find something, and this is what she found. That's good. Again, though, all things in moderation, and at times moderation was not her friend. And we would talk about it, we would talk. And fortunately, I think for her, the whole topic, the whole concept of moderation sunk in. She does her thing. She's very committed to her Christianity. She's very committed to her church. She's very committed to her beliefs. But let me tell you what, she's a pistol. She's a freaking life riot. She's creative. She's musical. She's cute as a bug's ear. She's married. She's got a wonderful family. Her husband loves her beyond all recognition, as well he should. She's got children. She's almost like the old lady in the shoe, except she's not old. She's got so many children. I don't know. She's got like 3 or 4 kids, but she's got so many children. She don't know what to do sometimes. She's a good egg, and I think she has embraced, the varying degrees of moderation, unlike people who just, they throw it at you, and they throw it at you. They open your mouth, and they try to shove it down your throat, have some more. No. Moderation, people. They're going to try to grind you down with constant barraging of their beliefs, of their stances, of their this, that, and the other relative to religiosity or spirituality or whatever you want to call it. Illegitimi non carborundum, and that's usually unknowingly because they're so into what they're into like that, they just want to share the word. That I can handle a lot better than other things. So it's home, it's work, it's dealing with the public, it's the spiritual, now the political or societal. What's wanted versus what's best or what is actually fact. For example, again, 80, 90 years ago, the guy with the bad haircut and the cheesy little mustache over in Germany, Hitler. Horrible. But yet, people bought in. Chapter and verse, hook, line, and sinker, because of the hyper-repetitive shout points. Shouting loud. The ones you find out who shout the loudest, whether it's, in the halls of Congress or, in the halls of the Reichstag, in the 30s and 40s. The ones who shout the loudest seem to be the ones who get the most gravitas initially, okay? So that was then. Now you've got the everything's good, State of the Union strong. My dad used to sit around the table and say, you've got to do good things and get a job and be strong. What? No, everything is not good. Everything is not strong. Now there are things that are. There are, certainly. But there are current conditions, and the repetitive, shout points are everything's fine, everything's good. Really? You've got inflation that's as bad as it's been since Jimmy Carter. You've got energy prices that are still damn near double, if not more, than what they ought to be. Well, they're coming down. No. Compared to what they were in early January of 2021, they're up. Well, they're down from last year and the year before, but they're still up. Unemployment, well, lowest in the, no, wait a minute, well, that's the U3 numbers, people. The U3 numbers are just the numbers that are reported. What about the people who are not being reported? What about the people who have given up looking for a job? What about the people who have just fallen off and said, that's it? The U6 numbers are horrible. What about all this help, this financial or whatever other kind of help abroad? Why are we not helping here? I just had one of my colleagues go down to the border in Yuma, Arizona last week. It's an absolute goat rodeo. No, but everything's fine. No, because they keep repeating and shouting that everything's fine, repeating and shouting that everything's fine, just like they did in Germany. Everything is good. This is what to do. We will have the answers for you. No, they didn't. And then all of a sudden, what about these people out in eastern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, within 30 miles of that train wreck? Tell you what, if I lived out there, peace, I'm out. Aren't you going to sell? Nope, I'm walking away. The bank can have it. See ya. Here, another one. Back then, 1969, in front of my elementary school, there was a Hanukkah menorah and a Christmas tree in December. Well, they took them both down because Dr. Spiro, who was not a Christmas celebrator, he had a problem with the menorah and the tree being right there, on the lawn in front of the school together. So the principal, in his wisdom, I'd have done the same damn thing, said, okay, you know what, Dr. Spiro, I'll take care of it. Next day, they pull up to bring the kids to school, and there's nothing on the lawn. They had Mr. Perrott, the custodian, take both of them down. You're going to make a thing out of this? Goodbye. Done. How do you like that? Okay, that was in 1969. Plus, back then, whenever any knuckleheadery was going on like that, or from teachers trying to foist an agenda on the children, the parents, largely parents who were children rather of the 30s and 40s, maybe the early 50s, but older, would come in and say, no, not here, not with my kids. Now, there's agendas all over the place. Political views, or leanings or tendencies or whatever other personal, agendas. It's on newscasts. You watch the Channel 7 Eyewitness News out of New York City. Bill Ritter, there'll be something on there about some initiative. And at the end of the report, he's going to say, thank you to Joe Fargo for that report. And yes, I agree. That stinks. Bill, no one asked you for your opinion. Report the news and shut your face. Like Walter Cronkite used to do. You remember him? Yeah, I know. He's been off the air since '81, so you may not remember him. But that's what Walter Cronkite did on the CBS Evening News. He gave you the story, and he didn't pontificate or allude to what he thought. Classroom initiatives. in schools as young as elementary age kids. It's standard operating procedure now, along with, well, the children should express themselves. Really? So you've got these little urchins running around like uncontrollable, here's the word again, little monsters, because, well, at school, at home rather, they're just allowed to express themselves, just do what they want, when they want, how they want, and why ever they feel like it. So at school, when a nice teacher who's been, I don't know, on the job for 30, 35 years, tries to do the right thing, they are not paying them the time of day. And it's not the high school kids, it's first grade, it's kindergarten, it's second grade, third and fourth. Express themselves. Okay, you should teach your children to be their own person, but there's a fine line. And here's the other thing that's going on right now. It's still going on right now, using the damn China virus as a very much of a control type of experiment. How's that? Because we all got told to stay home and not do this, not do that, not do the other, not be, not say, not act, react, counteract, or interact like we've been doing all of our lives because of those nuts over in China manufacturing some garbage in a lab that was, oops or not, allowed to escape and infiltrate the world. And we're all finding out now, because if I said this 2.5 years ago, I'd have been shouted down like, you're an extremist, you're a conspiracy theorist. It's all coming back now. It's all circulating out in the wash that, you know what? They did manufacture this in some laboratory. Antipasto. But in some laboratory. And it's infiltrated all the hell over the place. Okay? Think of it as a dog chain. Okay? Like out on a farm where they have the dog and there's a dog house probably, I don't know, just 50 yards out. And the dog's got a 45-yard chain on him. So he can roam kind of wherever he wants in a whole big 45-yard chain circle. Well, then just picture it like you take a link out every day, and another link, and another link, and another link, and another link. 1 year later, the chain is this long. He can't go any far, that dog can't go any further than this far from his doghouse because they kept taking a link out and a link out and another link out. That's what we deal with now. You don't realize it because, it's one link. What's a link? 3/4 of an inch? It's nothing. Until you got a chain that's now this long rather than 45 yards long. Whoa. 135 feet. Now it's 2 feet. Yep. So you have that kind of grinding down ongoingly and more now than ever. Illegitimi non carborundum. Now, here's the yang to those yins, okay? Do what's best for you, people. Just do what's best for you. That's the bottom line. Again, I can't say this enough, and I've said it previously, I believe even last week. Nobody knows you better than you do. Nobody knows what's best for you better than you do. Simple as that. Not your mom, not your dad, not your sister or brother, not your grandparents, not your aunts and uncles, not your cousins, not your neighbor, not your sales manager, not your boss, not your supervisor, not your coworker or colleague. You. Now, there are some that may come kind of close. I've known people, and not just family. I worked with for a guy, early on. About a year after I was out of college, I moved out to north central Pennsylvania. The guy's name is Joe Dalto. He's like an older brother to me. He's about 10 years older than me, and he is just top shelf, top dog. I love that guy because he got me where a lot of people didn't and or wouldn't have. He didn't know me 100%. Nobody does, like you do, or like I did at that point, but he was pretty good. Once in a while, mother and dad could get kind of close. And I've known a few, had relationships with a few women here and there through the years who have gotten relatively close. Some really close and some, close and back and close and back. But no one knows you better than you. No one knows what's best for you better than you do. I was forced to go to a prep school when I was 11 years old. I wasn't some little dopey student. I was almost 12, okay? I was 12, 11 and 12. I wasn't stupid. I didn't want to. That I knew was not for me. It wasn't for me. Whereas 2 years ago, my dad said, this is why the East Brunswick High School is a good place to go, because along with the reading and writing and arithmetic, you can take the classes, you can learn to do things with your hands, like with wood or with metal or with automotive. And then all of a sudden, in a year and a half, 2 years, that place was no good. What? You just said that was okay. No, never mind that. You're going to go and like it. I didn't like it. Did not. For at least 3.5 to 4 out of the 6 years I went to that snobatorium, I didn't like it. Did not. Until I kind of did. I knew what was best for me at 11 and 12 years old better, unfortunately, than mother and dad. And also, unfortunately, because in their eyes, I was, quote, only 11 or 12 years old, I didn't have a voice. I didn't get a shot. I never had an opportunity. So you will never know. Water under the bridge. I'm just saying, no one knows you better than you do. Always remember that. And don't give up. Here's the last thing on the other side of the illegitimate non-carborundum coin, because they're going to be people going to try to grind you down. Don't let them. Do not. Don't give up. Like Jim Valvano said in 1993 at the first ESPY Awards, as he literally is dying of cancer, don't give up. Don't ever give up. Whether it's on an idea, or whether you're with your health like he was going through, or giving up, don't give up on what's in your heart or what's been put in your heart. Don't. Always trust your inner self, your instincts, your gut. It's not going to let you down. I promise you that. You know how it is. You get involved with something, and on the outside, it looks like, wow, this is just the ticket, man. Yeah, man, here we go. And then you get yourself a little involved in whatever it may be. I had a job last year to where I lasted a month, because the more I got from the outside, I'm like, this is it. Yes, I'm back. And then I got in, and I had this literally right in here. Every day, this little pit would form. I could feel it, and it would get more pronounced by the day, until I finally went into my boss and said, listen, I'm going to go, because this is not for me, and I don't want to waste your time, and I sure as hell don't want to waste my time. You know, I'd rather do this now than come to you in 6, 9, 12 months and leave you in a big, big lurch. You trust your instinct. Trust your inner self. Go with, and I know it's kind of some people can, think of it as kind of crass-ish, but go with your gut. Go with that feeling, that little voice. Not literally, somebody saying, hey, what about it? No, because, okay. But I'm talking about that little voice, that little feeling right down in here. It'll never let you down. I promise. Been there, done that, So you're going to have the illegitimate non-carborundum, the don't let the jerks, the low information, the knuckleheads grind you down. You're going to have that from folks at home or within your family. You're going to have it at work. You're going to have it when you deal, however you do, with the public, okay? You're going to have it relative to just the spiritual, with whom you deal with on that level. You're going to have it with the political and or the societal, or both, okay? You're just gonna. It's happened. Again, we pointed out Nazi Germany, and we pointed out back 52 years ago when I was a pup going to kindergarten, first grade, and how stuff was starting to get back then, that it was weird. Now it's standard operating procedure. Eyes and ears open. Jefferson said it 240 some odd years ago, the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. Folks, especially with your families, with your kids, with your neighbors, with your community, with anything, remain vigilant. We are at a crossroads. We really are, and continuing to be at a crossroads. And there's always a crossroads, okay? So I'm not going to, oh, yeah, everybody said that through the years. We're at a crossroads. We're at a rendezvous. Like Reagan said, we're at a rendezvous with destiny. Well, we still are. We really and truly still are. It may change from year to year, from moment to moment, from generation to generation, but you know what? We are one generation away from being screw jobbed beyond a return, beyond coming back. And I mean screw jobbed by ourselves. Lincoln even said it. They're not going to get us from outside. We're going to be eaten alive from within. I'm paraphrasing, but Lincoln said it back in the 1860s. Ooh, he was right. He was one of the greats too. So, you have that from home, from work, from the public, with the spiritual, with the political and societal. But then if you continue to do what's best for you, because nobody knows what's best for you other than you or better than you, and if you don't give up, never give up on what's been put into your heart, to your soul, into your inner being, then you know what? We've got more than a shot. We've got this. We've got it. We've got it. Even if it's in our own little universe, we've got it. And as always, as we do this, folks, continuing to relentlessly pursue perfection, what we will be set up to achieve, of course, even if it's in our own little microcosmic universe, if not more, because it'll unfold, okay? What we'll get is excellence. That's the constant concept here, people. You know it, I know it. This is my quest. Okay? This is my star. My true north. One of them anyway. There's another one, but that's for another topic. That's the concept here. Going toward pursuing perfection in an effort to achieve excellence, along with being positive, upbeat, can-do, and of good cheer as much as can be. It's exactly the ticket, people. It's the good thing, the right thing to do, and it's highly worthwhile work, so to speak. And it's got to be part and parcel of the ongoing efforts to achieve that common ground we're all looking for. Trust me here, people. Take it to the bank. As always, do not doubt me. And as I always say, as I close the program here, by these things I stand. Yes, you should too. There it is. There it is. I hope you got something out of it today. I really always do. Again, take what you can use, leave the rest. That's all of it. That's it. That's it. Once again, give the rest of this week your best shot. Have a fantastic weekend coming up. First weekend of March. Oh, can you dig it? I'm going to slide on out of here. I'm done. For now. More next time, okay? Thank you for your time. This time until next time, okay? God bless everybody, too. This is Common Ground. This has been Common Ground with John Theillon. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see you next time. So long.